There is a particular kind of loneliness that carries no name. It does not arrive the way most people imagine loneliness arrives, in empty rooms or quiet Friday nights. It arrives in the middle of a full life, in the middle of a conversation where someone is sharing their pain, and you are listening, and you are present, and somewhere behind your calm eyes, something in you is very, very far away. This is the loneliness of the emotionally self-sufficient, the ones who learned, somewhere along the way, to need very little from others, the ones who process quietly, who resolve internally, who rarely burden anyone with the weight of what they carry. From the outside, they appear steady. From the inside, there is a silence that even they find difficult to explain. If this perspective resonates, you can support the video by liking it. Psychology has long recognized that human beings are wired for interdependence. The attachment research of John Bowlby established that from birth, the nervous system seeks proximity to another, to be held, to be seen, to be emotionally regulated through the presence of someone else. This is not weakness. This is the original design of the human mind. Connection is not a preference. It is a biological need, as fundamental as shelter. But some people, through early experiences of emotional unavailability, learn a different way. They learn to internalize, to self-soothe, to meet their own emotional needs before anyone else has the chance to not meet them. Psychologists sometimes call this compulsive self-reliance, a term introduced through attachment theory to describe individuals who developed independence as a survival response rather than a chosen strength. The self-sufficient person often does not experience their emotional independence as loss. They experience it as identity. They take quiet pride in not needing, in being the stable one, in remaining composed when others fracture. And this pride is not unfounded. There is genuine capability here, genuine resilience. But beneath that resilience, something else lives, something patient and unnamed. Comment unseen if this describes your experience. The hidden loneliness of emotional self-sufficiency is difficult to articulate because it is not the loneliness of being alone. It is the loneliness of being together and still unreachable, of sitting across from someone who loves you and knowing that the most essential parts of you are simply not being offered, not because you are dishonest, but because the offering itself feels dangerous. Because somewhere in the architecture of your nervous system, vulnerability was cataloged as risk. Brené Brown's research on vulnerability, grounded in years of qualitative study, found that people who struggle most with connection are not those lacking love in their lives. They are those who believe they are unworthy of it. The emotionally self-sufficient person often carries a quieter version of this belief, not that they are unworthy of love, but that their needs are unworthy of attention. That expressing emotional need is, at its core, an imposition. This belief does not announce itself. It operates silently, shaping every interaction. It whispers that it is more dignified to handle things alone, that asking for support makes you a burden, that the truest form of love is offering everything while requiring nothing in return, and so they give, generously, consistently, thoroughly, and they receive very little, not because others are unwilling to give, but because they rarely allow it. Type YES if this helped you understand something about yourself. There is a particular exhaustion that comes with this pattern. It is not the exhaustion of doing too much, though that is often present. It is the exhaustion of perpetual emotional solitude, of being the container for other people's feelings, while your own feelings wait quietly and indefinitely for their turn. Research on emotional labor, particularly the work of sociologist Arlie Hochschild, suggests that the ongoing suppression of felt emotion to maintain a composed exterior carries a genuine psychological cost. It depletes. Over time, it can lead to a flattening of emotional experience, what clinicians sometimes describe as emotional numbing. The emotionally self-sufficient person may begin to notice this in small ways. They find it difficult to cry, even when they want to. They feel vaguely detached during moments that are supposed to feel meaningful. They move through deeply human experiences, love, grief, joy, with a kind of glass between themselves and the feeling, present but not fully arrived. This is not coldness. It is distance learned by necessity and worn like armor, a way of existing that once protected and now isolates. If someone you know might benefit from this, feel free to share it. What makes this loneliness so hidden is that the emotionally self-sufficient person is often surrounded by people who love them. They have friendships, relationships. They are rarely physically alone. But emotional intimacy requires a specific quality of exposure. It requires allowing another person to witness the unresolved parts of you, the uncertain parts, the parts that have not yet been processed into something presentable. The self-sufficient person rarely offers those parts, and so the intimacy that exists around them remains, in some essential way, incomplete. Others may sense this without being able to name it. They may describe the relationship as caring but somehow sealed, warm but with a ceiling that neither person fully understands. Relationships can stall at a particular depth, never quite penetrating to the place where real meeting happens. Close but not close enough. This can be its own source of grief, one that is difficult to share, because the very nature of the pattern makes sharing feel impossible. Attachment research, it should be noted with appropriate nuance, suggests that these patterns are not fixed. The brain retains what neuroscientists call plasticity throughout life. Patterns formed in early relational experiences can be gradually reshaped through new relational experiences, particularly those characterized by safety, consistency, and emotional attunement. This is not a promise, but it is a possibility worth holding. If this gave you clarity, comment enough below. The emotionally self-sufficient person is not broken. This must be said clearly and held gently. They developed a profound capacity for inner stability, for self-containment, for showing up for others with remarkable consistency. These are not small things. They are evidence of deep and enduring strength. But strength and openness are not opposites. And the part of them that has never fully rested in another person's care is not a virtue. It is a wound shaped to look like one. There is something quietly aching about a person who is capable of feeling deeply, who does feel deeply, but who has built their entire emotional life behind a wall so well constructed that even they sometimes forget the door. Who gives and gives and gives, not out of abundance, but out of a fear of what happens when they finally stop. Who has mistaken self-sufficiency for safety and safety for love? To recognize this in yourself is not to become suddenly different. It is simply to see more clearly. And seeing clearly, even when it aches, even when it opens questions you are not yet ready to answer, is always the quiet beginning of something worth moving toward. If this exploration moved something in you, please take a moment to like the video. It helps this kind of quiet, careful storytelling reach the people who need it most. and consider leaving a reflection in the comments. What does emotional self-sufficiency feel like from the inside for you? When did you first learn to stop needing? That question matters. Your answer matters. If you are drawn to the kind of psychological awareness this channel holds space for, subscribing means you will never miss the next exploration. Here, on Unnoticed Human, the unseen parts of being human are always worth looking at.